Options in belief. A simple look at how humans came to believe what they believe. Humans have always asked the same questions. Why are we here? What does this all mean? How should we live? This video is about how belief formed, how it became organized, and why today many people are looking for something different. Long before religion, there was belief. Not belief as rules, not belief as doctrine, belief as observation. Early humans didn't gather in buildings. They gathered around fires and told stories. They watched the sun rise and set. They noticed the moon changing. They felt storms and seasons. They witnessed birth and death. They paid attention. Early humans learned by watching. They watched the land and the seasons. They noticed which plants healed and which ones harmed. They watched animals when they moved, when they hid, when they went quiet. Animals became signals. The earth became a guide. Belief began as attention, not rules. Stories were shared face to face. Rituals followed the seasons. Meaning came from lived experience. And for a long time, that worked. But as communities grew, belief had to travel. Stories needed to survive distance. They needed to last longer than memory. This is where religion began. Structure emerged so belief could scale. Teachings were written down. Symbols were created. Rules helped communities stay aligned. At first, this wasn't a problem. It was practical. It was preservation. Religion didn't start as control. It started as continuity. But systems don't stay simple forever. As religions grew, authority grew with them. Certainty became more valuable than curiosity. Questions became something to manage. Over time, belief shifted. From helping people understand life to telling people how to behave. And then fear entered the picture. Fear of punishment, fear of exclusion, fear of being wrong. Fear is effective. It keeps people close. It stabilizes systems. This doesn't mean religion is bad. It means institutions behave like institutions. They protect themselves. And often, the original wonder, the connection, the meaning, ends up buried beneath rules meant to preserve the structure. Now fast forward to today. For most of human history, belief was local. You believed what your village believed. Today, belief is global. In a single day, you can encounter dozens of belief systems, religions, spiritual paths, science, philosophy, each one claiming truth, each one offering meaning. And here's the interesting part. Many of these belief systems share the same stories. Creation myths repeat. Flood stories appear again and again. Moral teachings overlap. Different names, different symbols, the same human questions. Yet we're often told to choose one and reject the rest. For many people, that feels dishonest. They don't want blind faith. They don't want fear as motivation. But they also don't want emptiness. They still feel drawn toward meaning, toward connection, toward something larger than the individual self. And this is where a quieter question appears. Do you actually believe your beliefs? Or were they handed to you by family, culture, geography, or fear? If you had grown up somewhere else, would you believe something different? This isn't about rejecting belief. It's about becoming conscious of it. Many people walk away from organized religion, not because they've stopped believing, but because they no longer trust authority over belief. This is where the idea of options in belief matters. Belief doesn't have to be inherited. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You're allowed to notice what resonates. You're allowed to question without rejecting everything. Belief doesn't become weaker this way. It becomes personal. And once belief feels personal, it changes how we hear a word like church. For many people, church means doctrine, rules, and authority. But at its simplest, a church is just a gathering place. A place where people come together to reflect, connect, and ask the bigger questions. That's what the Church of Unreasonable Happiness is. Not a religion in the traditional sense. Not a belief system you're asked to adopt. And not a replacement for any faith you still hold. The church exists as a response to the modern moment. A moment where people are exposed to everything, yet often feel disconnected from themselves. The church is a shared space, a space that trusts individual experience. That starts from the idea that whatever we call God, or source, or meaning, isn't separate from us. It's expressed through us. Our bodies are the temple. Our lives are the practice. There's no hierarchy here. No conversion, no authority standing between you and your own intuition. The Church of Unreasonable Happiness isn't a religion of answers. It's a space for relationship. with yourself, with others, and with the understanding that we're more connected than we're taught to believe. If organized religion no longer fits, but meaning still matters, then this is simply an option, and not the option. One option among many, a reminder that belief was never meant to be rigid. It was always meant to be lived.